Let's give it up for Connecticut History Day. Come on, put your hands together. Celebrate, celebrate. Come on. There'll be some hard times. Just promise that you won't give up. If it takes all day, hold on. You'll get close to your answer. There'll be some long nights that you cry yourself to sleep. You just gotta be strong. Hang on in there. You'll get close to your answer. And I know that I've been blessed. Heartbeat in my chest. A feeling that I can't express. I am grateful. Come on, celebrate. 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 I'm happy that I had another day. Anybody grew up in Connecticut? Celebrate. Let me hear you say yeah. Celebrate. And nothing's gonna take my joy from me. Celebrate. Celebrate. I'm happy that I have another day. Trouble don't last always. The storm will pass you by. Let your heart be free. Reach for me, and we'll get through this together. Life can open many doors. You don't never have to be scared. I know a couple closed before. There's a million more. One day we'll get it all. And I know that I've been blessed. Heart beating in my chest. A feeling that I can't express. I'm grateful. Celebrate. Celebrate. I'm happy that I have another day. Anybody in the back row happy to be at Connecticut History Day? Come on, clap it up. All these awesome students here out here in Connecticut. Happy to be from Connecticut. Celebrate. Celebrate. I'm happy that I have another day. This song is for us to stay strong. This song is for us to hold on. Hold on. Hold on. This song is for us to stay strong. This song is for us to hold on. Hold on. This part is for the parents. You say, ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things are getting brighter. I hear y'all. Give yourselves a round of applause for Connecticut History Day and Old State House. My name is Nikita Waller. Ms. Rebecca.
Thanks so much, Nikita. It's our pleasure to have Nikita Waller with us, bringing the music. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rebecca Tabor. I'm the state coordinator for Connecticut History Day, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the 2022 State Contest Award Ceremony. I'm going to ask that you please rise and join us as Nikita sings the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming in the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nikita. What a pleasure it is to look out and see all of you. Thank you to all of you who came out to today's showcase. It was wonderful to interact and hear all about your projects in person. And I'd like to welcome those folks who are joining us virtually as well. To start with, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to the wonderful people of Vernon School District for their amazing support of Connecticut History Day. In particular, the staff and the administration of Vernon Center Middle School. You've made it a tremendous day, and I just want to thank each and every member of the team who made it so. Let's give them a round of applause. As you all know, judging for the state contest was virtual. And this year we had 374 students participate with 230 projects. Thank you to the teachers who support and participate in Connecticut History Day. And thank you to the volunteers, some of them joining us from all across the country who judged the projects. As you know, Connecticut History Day is one of 58 affiliate programs of National History Day. And in Connecticut, it's led by the Connecticut Democracy Center at Connecticut's Old State House. I feel very fortunate to work with such a supportive team, and it's my pleasure to introduce William Bavacqua, the president and CEO of the Connecticut Democracy Center.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. Before I say anything else, can I please get a round of applause for Rebecca Tabor? She is the force of nature that makes this program run every single year and has led it through a couple of really interesting and difficult years. So she does not get enough credit for what she does. So I'm pleased to see all of you here today to help celebrate not just History Day, but the accomplishments of our team as we move this program forward. I also want to acknowledge some of our special guests who are with us today, starting with Congressman Joe Courtney from the 2nd Congressional District. And Mike Kinesis from Connecticut Humanities, who is our partnership relationship with Connecticut Humanities is one of the most critical sources of funding we have to put Connecticut History Day on every year, and their support has been steadfast and instrumental to bringing you what we get to bring you every year. And I want to echo what Rebecca said a minute ago and express my gratitude to the entire Vernon school system and the staff here at Vernon Center Middle School, including Principal David Caruso, who couldn't be here with us today, for your incredible hospitality today. Looking out into the crowd here, I am so grateful for the reminder today of how much better Connecticut History Day looks when it's not over Zoom. Just like everything else we've experienced in the last 2 years, we took this program virtual out of necessity. And our History Day team has demonstrated their brilliance like never before in doing so. But there's no substitute for doing what we're trying to provide just a little slice of today. We miss seeing our students face to face. Judges miss talking to you, seeing your projects, learning more about you and the inspiration for them. And we miss the energy in the room like this when we start handing out awards. If you don't know what that feels like yet, you'll see in a couple of minutes. Why is it so exciting? Why is it so important? Few reasons, starting with you guys do awesome work. As a matter of fact, let me take one more minute so you can give yourselves a hand for yourselves. So if you're a student who worked on a project, a parent, a teacher, a sibling, a friend, whoever who supported a student who worked on a project, give yourselves a round of applause right now. Second reason, history matters. There's no other way of saying it. Maybe you've heard the quote from George Santayana, those who cannot learn from the past are condemned to repeat it. But you have to learn how to learn from it, which is a big part of why we're all here. Making the connections you've all made in doing your projects, I hope, is a discovery of how much we connect to people and events before us and how much we will connect to people and events yet to come. This gets more real for me every year because as a History Day judge over many years now, I'm starting to see in more and more topics that focus on events from my lifetime. I judged one project at regionals that cited articles from a newspaper that I used to deliver as a paper boy when I was a kid. So that experience made me feel, well, old to start with, but second, much more aware of that continuum of history that we all talk about. And if you're not old enough to be rolled by that yet, take a minute and ask yourselves what you think the History Day projects might be when you're my age. Something about COVID-19, the war in Ukraine, the Capitol riots on January 6th. You know, journalists have a saying, the news is the first rough draft of history. So when you think about what the past has to teach us, consider also what we're going to have to teach future generations when it's our turn to pass the baton. And the last reason, and this is where I come from as the CEO of the Connecticut Democracy Center, history is more than history, especially the way we do it here. You know, when National History Day chooses their contest theme every year, they're not just trying to give you another challenge to meet in creating your projects. It's usually a very timely lens that they invite you to look through when you make your historical arguments. I mean, debate and diplomacy isn't a historical artifact, right? At least I hope it's not. But if our job is to use the past to teach us something about the present, that's a great way to do it. During the contest season, while you weren't looking, we tried to teach you some lessons about what it means to be a smart, thoughtful consumer of the information you're going to need to be a good citizen. Knowing how to ask a question and find reliable information, answer it. Knowing how to think critically about what you find. Knowing how to look at something from more than one perspective. These are your lovely parting gifts from History Day. Use them when you talk with people about the issues that you care about. Watch or read the news with them. Vote with them when you're old enough. I promise they won't let you down. So I hope you enjoyed your History Day experience this year. And if you don't plan on this being your last contest, I hope we'll see you in person the next time we all get together next year. You've all done amazing work to get here, and wherever you've placed, you've got a lot to be proud of. And if you're going on to nationals, you've got a whole army of very proud Connecticut History Day people behind you. But I'm going to stop keeping you all in suspense and turn it back to Rebecca so we can inch a little bit closer to handing out some awards. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much, Bill. Bill mentioned the importance of our partnership with Connecticut Humanities. They are instrumental in funding Connecticut History Day, and so we are very honored to be joined by one of our friends from Connecticut Humanities, Mike Kinesis, who's with us today.
Thank you, Rebecca. It's great to see so many students here today, engaging with history in so many different ways, meaningful ways, and especially those projects that cover topics concerning Connecticut's deep and rich history. Congratulations to everyone here for doing such fantastic work throughout the year. Also, big congratulations to the Connecticut Democracy Center for putting on such a wonderful event today, the culmination of so much hard work throughout the year. Trust me, I know I've spoken to Rebecca all year long about this project. CT Humanities is proud to be a supporter of such a magnificent event as Connecticut History Day, and we could not be happier to be part of this amazing program. Thank you, and good luck to everybody.
Thank you. We're extremely excited to be joined by the congressman for the 2nd District where we are, Joe Courtney.
Thank you, Rebecca. Mr. Bavacqua said we're inching closer, and then you invite a politician up here. And I know, just so you know, I'm from the House. We can't filibuster in the House, so I will be brief. Again, I want to thank Regina Lee for the invitation to be here today from the middle school, the Gifted and Talented program, and also welcome the folks that are here from the Connecticut Humanities Council, as well as the Connecticut Democracy Center to Vernon. I'm very proud of this community. I have 63 towns in the 2nd Congressional District. This is where I live, and it does not surprise me that the school system here threw its arms open to today's event. This town actually is very rich in history. About 2 miles from here, there is the Civil War Museum in the center of Rockville, which has, and this is without exaggeration, one of the most outstanding collections of Civil War memorabilia. There was a very active unit from Rockville that fought in the Civil War on the Union side. If any of you ever go to visit Gettysburg in the battlefield, you will see actually a monument stone that is there that commemorates the sacrifice of the Rockville unit. Again, across the street as I was driving in here, we had the Vernon Historical Society, which has an open house today. But really, this is all over Connecticut. We are an incredibly rich state in terms of almost every era, even pre-colonial, that again, just makes the effort to learn more, extremely enriching, but also I think really fun. And again, I'm so glad to hear all the great feedback for all the students that are here today and the hard work that you put in. Congratulations to you and your parents. I'm very biased. I was a history major when I was an undergraduate. And, again, sometimes people sort of view it as sort of a frivolous subject. But as Mr. Bavacqua said, I don't care what you do in life. Having that grounding in terms of understanding the past is just so important to, every sector of our society, every sector of our economy. It just makes you a better citizen and really, I think, helps guide, which is basically a self-operating form of government, democracy, so that we make right choices in the future. Mr. Bavacqua quoted George Santana. It's obviously one of the most famous quotes about the value of history. I brought along one myself from another individual who has been ranked as probably one of the most leading figures, certainly political figures in the 20th century, Winston Churchill, who led his nation through the Blitz and one of the most dire moments for democracy in the history of the West. And he, during even the middle of that, was still writing history. I mean, he was an accomplished historian. And this is his perspective. Similar to Santana, those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Must always look forward, but we must understand our history in order not to repeat the mistakes of the past. I have seen too many instances where people continue to pursue wrong courses of action because they did not take the time to think critically about what happened in the past. And we are living in times right now where Churchill's words profoundly echo the effort to protect democracy in Ukraine from a totally unprovoked, savage invasion has reminded people why, for example, the NATO alliance, which many people were questioning both in Europe and in the US, was really obsolete and a thing of the past. And thank goodness it was preserved, and it is working together to push back and support the brave people of Ukraine, who have many relatives in the state of Connecticut, some of whom are right here in this town, and my office is working to get their loved ones who are in refugee camps in Germany over to the US as soon as possible. And the gratitude that they feel in terms of the support that we're providing is because we didn't forget that lesson of World War II and NATO. So again, congratulations to all of you. Congratulations to the Humanities Council, who does receive funding from the federal government through the National Endowment of Humanities, which is a program which frankly gets dismissed as frivolous many times. And it's wonderful to be here to see the end result, that it's actually, again, strengthening young people's understanding of our country's past and our world's past, because you're going to need it as you make the next steps which I'm sure are going to be very successful ones for you, and you're going to do great things. Congratulations to all of you who competed and participated, and congratulations to the winners. Thank you very much.
We did have some special guests who could not join us today, and so they're members of our state's congressional and senatorial delegation, and so we'd like to share that video with you now.
I'm Susan Weissowitz, Lieutenant Governor of Connecticut. I'm so happy to be able to speak to you on this special and important occasion. On behalf of Governor Lamont and me, we'd like to wish everyone a happy Connecticut History Day. I also want to extend my most heartfelt congratulations to our state's History Day participants. I know that for all the students here today, this project took months of work and dedication. Regardless of who advances on to the state contest, you should all be proud of yourselves and what you have accomplished. Even for those who do not advance forward, Connecticut history has so much to offer. Today marks a day of historical exploration and creative expression for many students. This is truly an example of a time where the journey matters just as much, if not more, than the destination. By that, I'm referencing how it is impressive to see so many middle and high school students eager to learn about our history and engage in research and scholarship. This program allows students and teachers to come together from all over the state, as well as museums and scholars, to support young people contributing to learning and history. It's exciting to see students share what they're passionate about while extending their range of interests and teaching others to analyze history. History allows us to have a better understanding of the world. Through it, we learn how past societies, governments, ideologies, and cultures developed. We can also analyze how they may have operated and changed over time. History informs us about our past world and life while shedding light on both the future and the present. Through this program, students can become more well-rounded people by understanding historical identities, learning from past mistakes, and being inspired to change the world for the better. For example, a personal role model of mine is someone from Connecticut's history, our state's first elected female governor, Ella Grasso. The history of the world and where we live helps us paint a detailed picture of where we stand today. Historical figures we admire can also inspire us to dream bigger and to achieve our goals. I hope you will continue your work with history. We need your great ideas to keep us moving forward. Good luck to those participating in the regional contest, and thank you to the Connecticut Democracy Center for hosting this program. Happy Connecticut History Day.
Hi, I'm Richard Blumenthal, your United States Senator. Really excited and proud to be part of this day when we celebrate history, historians, and students who aspire to make history real in our lives. William Faulkner once said, "The past is not dead, it's not even past. In fact, it is with us always, and we can learn from it, especially when it comes to debate and diplomacy, the kinds of successes, failures that have consequences. Even now, in the present conflict we're seeing unfold in Ukraine, there are lessons from the past that we can put to work now, trying to achieve peace, protect the independence and freedoms of Ukraine against this war of brutal aggression." What you're doing in this contest, all 4,000 students who've participated through the 58 affiliate organizations, is to show us how students of history can be role models for us, but also can help to teach us, no matter what their age or what their grade level in our educational system. So Connecticut History Day is really historic, and thank you for letting me celebrate it with you.
Hey everybody, it's Chris Murphy, your United States Senator. I want to congratulate and thank all the students across Connecticut who participated in this really fascinating and interesting and rewarding Connecticut History Day project. I understand that the work you've been doing is around the study of diplomacy, diplomatic efforts that have worked, diplomatic efforts that haven't worked. That is my day-to-day work. I'm a member of the Foreign Relations Committee. And so every single day I'm engaged in a conversation about when and where and how diplomacy can protect US interests. There are times when diplomacy is the best options. There are other times where diplomacy has limitations. And so I'm really eager to hear a little bit more about some of the conclusions that you've come to. And I'm glad that you're lifting up diplomacy as a tool that can protect the United States. There are some folks down here in Washington who sort of always have an instinct to fight first. And that's part of the reason why right now the United States spends 20 times as much money on military hardware and intelligence assets as we do on the State Department and development and democracy aid, the tools of peace. Diplomacy and smart power, that's still the best path to protect this country. And I hope that you'll discover that through your work on this project. Once again, thanks for being a part of it.
Hi, I'm Congressman John Larson, representing Connecticut's 1st Congressional District. Congratulations to each winner of this year's Connecticut History Day contest. This year's theme of debate and diplomacy and history is very fitting as we navigate the differences in opinion we see at local, state, and federal levels. As a former history teacher and former president of the Connecticut State Senate, we authorized a bill that said a session must convene in the old State House once in the biennium. The idea, of course, was to breathe life into the great history of the Constitution State. I'm proud to represent this great district, and I know that we can ensure a brighter future by learning from the past. One of our most famous Connecticut residents, Mark Twain, said, "History doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes." I continue to support legislation here in Washington, D.C. that will make sure that history and civics and financial literacy are things that are taught and necessitated for people to graduate from high school. Your knowledge and dedication show how bright our nation's future is. And again, congratulations to each winner this year. I look forward to meeting you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Congressman Jim Himes, and I want to offer congratulations and thanks to everyone who participated in the Connecticut Democracy Center State History Contest. The theme of debate and diplomacy is more important today than it ever has been, as we see, of course, the failure of diplomacy in Europe and hopefully the return of diplomacy and democratic debate, not just in Ukraine, but everywhere. An important thing to our history, to this institution in which I serve, and to all of you. So really appreciate the intense work you did, the research, the commitment to history, and congratulations to all of you.
Thank you to all of our legislators for sending those messages of support, and congratulations to all of you. You know, it really takes a team to manage Connecticut History Day. And before we start the awards, which I promise we're just about to, I would like to thank the members of our team. If you have your name called, can you step forward to receive your gift? Nicole Sousa, who works in the state office. She is my partner in crime as we run things and deal with all kinds of problems, from registration to uploading, everything. And also Nicole serves as the Hartford Regional Coordinator. Cindy McManaman, who I think wins the award for most titles because she works with us as a contest assistant and keeps us organized. She's also the Mansfield Regional Coordinator, and she works with students here at Vernon Center Middle School. And Rockville High, yes, Rockville High. She can't just stop at one school. She's got to do more. Tony Andre, who is the Fairfield Regional Coordinator, if he's still with us. Oh, great. He, if you know Tony and you're in his region, you know that he's always out on the road leading workshops. He's also the go-to person for judging amongst our coordinators, and we really appreciate that. Thank you, Tony. Liz Porter is the coordinator for the Norwich region. She cannot be with us today, but hopefully she's watching us virtually, and we'd like to thank Liz for her hard work in the Norwich region. Our newest coordinator is Jennifer Hunt, who represents the Torrington region. And Jennifer is not actually new to History Day. She was a longtime History Day teacher, so it's great having her work with us in this new role. And then Khalil Kotap, who is the New Haven Regional Coordinator. He was not able to be with us today. He's Director of Education down at the New Haven Museum. Thank you so much. Thank you. And now, as I promised, what everyone's waiting for, the awards. Woo! Today, we are going to recognize first, second, and third place finishers in each of the categories. Students who place first or second will be going to the national contest, which, as you know, this year is virtual. The third place finisher will serve as an alternate if the top two finishers do not want to participate in the national contest. We also are going to be awarding special prizes, and I'll get to those in a second. Students who place first in their category, along with their teachers, will receive a free subscription, a free one-year subscription to Connecticut Explored, the magazine of Connecticut history. Now, for our logistics for today is that, first of all, I'm going to ask that you please hold your applause until I announce the name, title of project, school, and teacher. Please, if I mispronounce your name or your title, please forgive me. We do our best to pronounce things correctly, but it's a little bit hard with so many names, so we ask for your indulgence on that. If your project is announced, we're going to ask people to hold your applause till we announce everything. And then if you're announced as the winner, if you can walk briskly, no strolling, walk briskly up these steps to my left, carefully, and then you're going to go up to Nicole. Nicole is going to hand you your medal. We're going to ask that you please put that medal around your neck, and then you can stop by and greet our special guests, depending on how you feel comfortable. If you want to shake their hand, fist bump, or just smile, whichever you prefer. And then we're going to ask you to stop in between the two banners and balloons because we want to get your photograph. If you, and then you can just exit, I should say, off the stairs to my right. If you are with a group and you're the only person here, and you want to get your teammates medals, that's okay. If you're a teacher and your students aren't here, you can come up and take it in their behalf. And I should mention at the end of the ceremony, we do have a table outside with all of the regional medals. So if you haven't gotten them already, stop by, especially teachers, we want to give that to you. So is everybody ready? All right, let's go. We're going to start with papers. Junior papers. In third place, the project is To Help or to Hurt, an exploration of DDT by Benjamin Burrell, a student at Timothy Edwards School in South Windsor. The teacher is John Smith-Horn. Congratulations. In second place, another student from Timothy Edwards School, Rachel Matthew, From Peru to Yale and Back Again, the journey of the Peruvian Machu Picchu artifacts. And Rachel's a student with John Smith-Horn. In first place, the project is Divergent Paths, How the Japanese Exclusion Act of 1924 transformed the debate on U.S.-Japan relations. The student is Mansi Han, and they're a student at Worthington Hooker School in New Haven, and the teacher is Kristen Ben. Moving on to senior papers. In third place, from the Engineering Science University Magnet School in East Haven, the project is The Complex Legacy of the Iran Hostage Crisis by Lucinia O'Brien. In second place, the student is Jeff Kim for Army Alpha, The Unintended Consequences of the Implementation of Intelligence Testing in the United States Military. Jeff is a student at Choate Rosemary Hall, and the teacher is Janet DeLeon. The first place finisher for senior papers will be receiving the Bruce Fraser Prize for Outstanding Senior Paper. It's sponsored by the Connecticut Coalition for History, and it's named in memory of Bruce Fraser, who was the longtime director of Connecticut Humanities Council. Bruce, if you knew him, was a tireless advocate for Connecticut's historical heritage. And so that prize is awarded to Emily Kim for The Armenian Genocide, The Consequences of Silence. Emily is a student at Loomis Chaffee School in Windsor, and the teacher is Lori Caligura. Moving on to junior individual documentary. In third place, the project is The Merritt Parkway, Debating Its Way Through History by Kayla Linder. Kayla is a student at West Rocks Middle School in Norwalk, and the teacher is Janine Muland. In second place is the Olympic boycott debate of 1936, Changing the Face of Discrimination Through Diplomacy. The student is Kaylin Camby. Kaylin is a student at Nathan Hale Ray Middle School in East Haddam, and the teacher is Andrew Riccio. And in first place, the student is Gary Cumber for Loving versus Virginia, Loving versus Hating. Gary is a student at Timothy Edwards School in South Windsor. The teacher is John Smithhorn. Moving on to senior individual documentary. The project is Ending the Troubles with Diplomatic Debate, How the Mitchell Principles Paved the Way Towards Lasting Peace in Northern Ireland by Claire Flynn. Claire is a student at Conard High School in West Hartford. The teacher is Jessica Blitzer. In second place, Paving the Way or Spoiling the Day, The Unintended Consequences of FDR's Agricultural Adjustment Act by Brendan Beezenson. And Brendan is a student at Norwich Free Academy, and the teacher is William Howard. In first place, the project is Peru versus Yale, A Fight for Repatriation by Grace Sullivan. Grace is a student at Greenwich Academy, and the teacher is Brian Hoffman. Moving on to senior group documentary. In third place, the project is The Debate of Hiroshima Atomic Bombing by Ava Powell, Allison Courier, and Cindy Matz. They're students at Ellington High School, and their teacher is Lynn Olette. In second place, the project is Ambedkar's Mahad Sadagarara, protesting for rights in a caste-based country. The students are Sivasari Nagavarupa, Daris Panmohan Kumar, and they're students again at Ellington High School with Miss Olette and William Pernetta. In first place, the project is Ping Pong Diplomacy, The Remarkable History of the Game That Changed the World by Anishka Pereira and Drew Nowinski, and they're students at the Taft School. Their teacher is Sean Padgett. Moving on to junior group documentary. In third place is The Tripolitan War, A Calculated Decision or a Lucky Gamble by Peyton Severs and Stephanie Sanborn. They're students at Shelton Intermediate School, and their teacher is Robert Monaco. In second place, the project is Berlin Divided, the story of short-lived diplomacy and ceaseless debate by Isha Shenoy and Krita Jaladurumgam. And their students at Irving A. Robbins Middle School in Farmington. Their teachers are Allison Olson and Neva Wolf. The first place prize for junior group documentary receives the Bill Brayfield Award. The Brayfield Prize is given on behalf of the Connecticut Coalition for History in recognition of our colleague Bill Brayfield, a professor of history at the University of Hartford. Professor Brayfield was an original organizer of History Day in Connecticut from 1979 to 1981 and remained involved in the program until his death in July of 1996. He was a longstanding member of the coordinating committee and served on its education subcommittee. So the first place prize for junior group documentary goes to How the White Rose Bloomed and Flourished by Penelope Evans and Asla Tripathi, students at Timothy Edwards School with John Smith Horn. We owe a huge debt of gratitude to all of the educators out in the audience, out in the wider audience. So I'd like to just have us give a round of applause to all of the History Day teachers, because there would be no History Day without all of you, and we really appreciate it. So every year we recognize just two of the amazing teachers who we are fortunate to work with. And so I would now like to pause to announce the Connecticut nominees for the 2022 Patricia Baring Teacher of the Year Award. For the junior division, John Smith Horn of South Windsor. Mr. Smith Horn is a phenomenal educator who has supported students at Timothy Edwards Middle School, participating in National History Day for close to a decade. He fosters a sense of camaraderie around his students and mentors new NHD teachers, encouraging them to participate, as now South Windsor High School now does. I often will call John one of our Uber judges, because not only is he a wonderful teacher, he also volunteers and judges at just about every contest that you can, from regional, like I think this year was all 6 regional contests, to states, to nationals. We are very, very thankful for John's dedication to History Day. And so I'm pleased to call John up to receive this certificate recognizing his selection as the 2022 Connecticut nominee for the Junior Division Patricia Baring Teacher of the Year Award.
Thank you very much.
Well deserved. Our next teacher that we're recognizing, we know cannot be with us today, Drew Coyne from Staples High School. Hopefully he's tuning in from vacation. We're pleased to recognize Drew as the Senior Division Patricia Baring Teacher of the Year Connecticut nominee. Drew is a passionate educator who is a vocal advocate for National History Day. He was part of a team that introduced and implemented National History Day into the school's curriculum 7 years ago. Last year, 6 of his students represented the state at the national contest. Drew explained that in recent years, NHD, quote, truly clicked on another level for me and subsequently for my students. And he could help his students make connections, hone their arguments, and connect with experts. It's my pleasure to recognize Drew with with his selection as the 2022 Connecticut nominee for the Senior Division Patricia Baring Teacher of the Year Award. Congratulations, Drew. Let's give him a big round of applause. We're gonna head back to categories. Does that sound okay to anyone? Yes, of course. We are going to go to exhibits, which is still, even with all the new technology, exhibits is still one of our most popular categories. So junior individual exhibit, starting with third place. The project is Silent Spring, Rachel Carson's Fight to Ban DDT by Grace Osborne, a student at Old Lyme Middle School, and the teacher is William Eidman. In second place, the student is Kira Rand for The Debate of Radium and Diplomacy of Its Evil. Kira is a student at Nathan Hillray Middle School in East Haddam, and her teacher is Andrew Riccio. In first place, the project is the Greensboro Sit-ins, Many Faces of Diplomacy by Mulsi Mani Sandahara Rajan, a student at Bedford Middle School in Westport. The teacher is Alexis Owing. Moving on to senior individual exhibit. In third place, the project is the Lowell Mill Girls, demonstrating diplomatic strategy through the First Working Women's Union. The winning student is Mary Lynch, a student at E.O. Smith High School in Stores. The teacher is Jennifer McMunn. In second place, from Norwich Free Academy, this project is Duck Diplomacy, How Walt Disney Saved FDR's Good Neighbor Policy. The student is Joseph Cook, and the teacher is Lorraine Dooley. And if memory serves me right, is that your first or second national competitor? I believe at NFA. Congratulations. Moving on to first place. The project is Angry Days, 1939 to 1941. Should the U.S. enter World War II? By Dagny Dahl, a student at Staples High School. The teacher is Kelly Zarenda. Congratulations. Moving on to junior group exhibit. In third place, the project is the Seneca Falls Convention, The Diplomatic Start to the U.S. Women's Suffrage Movement by Julia Drury, Evelyn Nelson. They're students at Center School in Ellington. Their teacher is Krista Brogel. In second place, the project is The Cuban Missile Crisis, The Diplomatic Dilemma by Daniel Go, Marianne Jo Montenegro, Anna Kabischuk, and Olivia Papadopoulos. Students at Nathan Hale Middle School in Norwalk, and the teacher is Brian Kirby. And in first place, from Old Lyme Middle School, the project is Bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, The Origins of Atomic Diplomacy by Tessa Grethel and Sophia D'Amico. The teacher is William Eidman. Moving on to senior group exhibit. In third place, the project is The Debate and Diplomacy of the Indian Gaming Regulatory Act regarding Native American economic improvement, successes, failures, and consequences. The students are Isabella Revel, Lucy Nuvud, and Kaya Law. They're students at Staples High School with Drew Coyne. In second place, Cold War Debate, Diplomacy, and the Creation of the Polio Vaccine, Successes, Failures, and Consequences. The students are Tessa Tobias, Talia Varsano, and Anika Reddy, and they also are students with Mr. Coyne at Staples High School. In first place, the project is the 1968 Olympics, Controversy Surrounding Athletic Activism by Aiden Loud, Natalie Kiesling, Damian Smith, Olivia Tebbets, and their students at Ellington High School with Lynn Olette and William Pernetta. We're going to pause for just 1 second and move on to special prizes. These special prizes recognize specific content area, and we have quite a few to announce, over 20. So what we're going to be doing is the same as with the category projects. I'm going to try to go through these pretty quickly, so if your name's announced, if you can try to get up here as soon as you can. Nicole will have a certificate for you. We'll be sending you your prize at a later date. So we're going to start off with outstanding entry for use of materials and/or collections held in a Connecticut archive, museum, or historical society. And this is sponsored by the Connecticut League of History Organizations. The winning project is The Debate on Fair Labor Laws, Radium Girls in Connecticut and Beyond by Anya Diaz and Olivia Beers. They're students at Wyndham Technical High School, and their teacher is Rachel Rindu. Moving on to the outstanding entry in Native American history. This is sponsored by the Acamont Educational Initiative, and the winning project is A One-Sided Debate, the Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek and How the Choctaw Nation Was Manipulated into Diplomacy. This is a junior group exhibit by Jonathan Dobbin-Smith, Uma Chaudhry, and Zara Salaba, and their students at Bedford Middle School in Westport, and their teacher is Gabrielle Thomas. The outstanding entry in 17th century Connecticut history is presented by the Society of the Descendants of the Founders of Hartford. The winning prize is the infamous witch trials, the debate that led to the diplomacy of witchcraft in Connecticut. It's a junior group performance by Melody Galazar, Skyla Aiken, and Theus Nuance. They attend Westside Middle School Academy in Danbury, and their teacher is Nancy Barlow. The prize for the outstanding entry in American Legal History Junior Division, which is sponsored by the Connecticut Supreme Court Historical Society. The winning project is Engel versus Vitale, Redefining Religion in Our Schools. It's a junior group exhibit, and the students are Emmy Anderson, Ian Mills, Roy Rock, Steve Charles, Xavier Miles. They're students at Nathan Hale Middle School in Norwalk, and their teacher is Brian Kirby. The prize for outstanding entry in American Legal History Senior Division, also presented by the Connecticut Supreme Court Historical Society, is presented to Griswold versus Connecticut. The Government is My Husband, a senior individual website by Kara Kong, a student at Norwich Free Academy, and the teacher is Lorraine Dooley. The outstanding entry in Connecticut history, which is presented by ConnecticutHistory.org, which is another program of Connecticut Humanities. It's a great place to do research. This prize is presented to a junior paper titled The Anti-Income Tax Rally of 1991 by Sally Wora, a student at Bedford Middle School in Westport, and the teacher is Alexis Owen. Next is the outstanding entry related to an underrepresented Connecticut community. It's presented by Connecticut Landmarks. The project is Chef versus O'Neill, Revealing Hidden Racism in Connecticut School Systems by Chelsea Cliff. It's a senior individual exhibit, and Chelsea's a student at Torrington High School. Her teacher is Patricia Conroy. The David O. White Prize for Outstanding Entry in African American History. This is sponsored by the Association for the Study of Connecticut History. It's presented to Cassius Morgan Coe for the project, The Compromise of 1877, A Failed Promise. It's a senior individual documentary. Cassius is a student at Wilbercross High School in New Haven, and the teacher is Alfred Meadows. The Outstanding Entry in Latinx American History, which is sponsored by the Center for the Study of Race, Indigeneity, and Transnational Migration at Yale University, is presented to Madeline McCartan for the junior individual website, The Panama Canal, 99 Years of Debate and Diplomacy. Madeline is a student at Scotts Ridge Middle School in Ridgefield. The teachers are Thomas Broderick and Kira Kalswak. The center also sponsors a second prize, which is the Outstanding Entry in Asian American History. This is presented to Jeffrey Lee, a student at Norwich Free Academy, for the senior website entitled The Chinese Exclusion Act, Immigration Immobilized. Teacher is William Howard. The George Washington Leadership in History Prize is sponsored by the Washington Library at George Washington's Mount Vernon. It's presented to Ishan Agarwal for the project, The Debate Over Representation, The Great Compromise of 1787. It's a junior individual documentary, and Ishan's a student at Timothy Edwards School with Mr. Smith-Horn. Next, we have the Outstanding Entry that incorporates a building, landscape, or archaeological site in the U.S. that promotes a historic preservation ethos. This is presented to Nicholas Angeli for the senior individual exhibit, Provoking the Unprovoked, The Diplomatic Tragedy of Pearl Harbor. Nicholas is a student at Rockville High School here in Vernon, and his teacher is Regina Lee and Cynthia McMahon. I'd also like to mention, because this is really amazing, I think, that Nicholas and his teacher, Mrs. Lee, are participating in the National History Day program called Sacrificing Freedom. So they're doing research on Connecticut soldiers, and they will be going to Hawaii in 2 months to participate in the Sacrificing Freedom program to learn more about the Pacific aspect of World War II. So congratulations to Nicholas for both those achievements. The Outstanding Entry in World History Junior Division is sponsored by the Connecticut Council for the Social Studies. The winning project is Astronomy, Science, and Religion, The Debate That Changed the World. It's a junior group performance by Leah Hayes and Trevor Bischoff, and they're students with Mrs. Barlow at Westside Middle School Academy in Danbury. The Outstanding Entry in World History Senior Division goes to a senior individual documentary produced by Saya Trahanas, a student at Brunswick School, for a project entitled The Fall of the Berlin Wall. Teacher is Nicole Genadi. One of our newest prizes is sponsored by the Slater Memorial Museum, which is located on the campus of the Norwich Free Academy. This prize is Outstanding Entry related to immigration, urbanization, or the industrial working class, and it's presented to Ria Dashi for a junior individual exhibit entitled Child Labor Reform in the United States, How Photographs Spark Debate and Policy. Ria is a student at Talcott Mountain Academy in Farmington, and the teacher is Amanda Greco. Next is the Outstanding Award related to a social justice issue, which is sponsored by the History Department of Southern Connecticut State University. It's presented to Gustavo Machado, Maura Costa, and Solia Young for their junior group exhibit entitled The Fist to Debate and Change and Black Change. They are students at Westside Middle School Academy, and they are with Mrs. Barlow. Congratulations. The outstanding entry related to equality and equity in education is sponsored by the Prince Crandall Museum, and it's presented to a senior group performance entitled Debate, Defeat, and the Legacy of a Dream. The 1831 proposed Black college in New Haven. The students are Elias Theodore and Lily Gorin. They're students at Wilbercross High School in New Haven, and their teacher is Al Meadows. The outstanding entry related to civics, government, or citizenship in the junior division, which is presented by the organization we all work for, the Connecticut Democracy Center, is presented to an individual documentary created by Isabella Kibbe, and her project is on World Peace is One Flight Away, how the creation of the Peace Corps changed the world. Isabella is a student at West Rocks Middle School in Norwalk, and her teacher is Janine Mouland. The outstanding entry related to civics, government, or citizenship for the senior division, also presented by the Connecticut Democracy Center, is awarded to Daphne Brewer for her senior individual documentary, Monkey to Man, How the Scopes Trial Sparked Widespread Debate and Influenced the American Classroom. Daphne is a student at Conard High School in West Hartford, and the teacher is Jessica Blitzer. We have two prizes to award for the outstanding entry related to slavery or abolition junior division. These are presented by the Gilder Lehrman Center for the Study of Slavery, Resistance, and Abolition. To start with, I'd like to call up Josiah McMahon for the junior individual exhibit entitled La Amistad, Debate and Diplomacy. Josiah is a student at Praise, Power, and Prayer Christian School in Windsor, and the teacher is Alyssa McMahon. The second prize is awarded to a junior group exhibit entitled The Lincoln Douglas Debates, How Failure Turned to Success by Michaela DeDendria, Riley Corcoran, and they're students at Irving A. Robbins Middle School in Farmington. Their teacher is Alyssa Olson. The outstanding entry in Women's History Junior Division is sponsored by the Harriet Beecher Stowe Center. The students are Faith Callas and Molly Beach for their junior group website, Sister Kenny, the debate over the Kenny method. They're students at Nathan Hale Ray Middle School in East Haddam, and their teacher is Nicole DeFabio. The outstanding entry in Women's History Senior Division, also presented by the Harriet Beecher Stowe Center, goes to Hannah Satran for her senior individual performance, The Effects the Declaration of Sentiments had on the public and the suffrage movement. Hannah is a student at Pine Point School in Stonington, and the teacher is Christopher Hurtgen. The outstanding entry that best incorporates Jewish history, heritage, and/or a Jewish personality is sponsored by the Jewish Historical Society of Fairfield County. It's presented to Riley Then for Riley's senior paper entitled Sigrid Schultz, Navigating Diplomatic Journalism in Wartime America. Riley is a student at Manchester High School, and the teacher is Matthew Sawaski. The special prize for an outstanding entry in aerospace or technological history is sponsored by the New England Air Museum. It is awarded to Henry Mead for Henry's junior paper entitled Concord, Success, Debate, and Failure, a controversial past and a promising future, how circumstances led to the fall of the most supersonic plane. Henry is a student at Worthington Hooker School in New Haven, and the teacher is Beth Hart. The outstanding entry related to debate and diplomacy history and military history is sponsored by the Yukon Office of Veteran Affairs and Military Programs. It's presented to Ava Wilson for a senior individual exhibit entitled Desmond Doss, the Unlikely War Hero. Ava is a student at Ellington High School, and her teacher is Lynn Olette. The outstanding entry in the arts is sponsored by the Wadsworth Atheneum in Hartford. This year is presented to the junior group exhibit entitled The Surrealist Art Movement, Melting Society's Mold on Rationality. The students are Maya Johnson, Rachel Joy, Shayla Beglow, and their students at Westside Middle School Academy with Miss Barlow. The Bruce Stave Special Prize for the Best Use of Oral History Prize is sponsored by the Connecticut Coalition for History. Bruce Stave was a renowned oral historian who did a lot of work in that field, and so this prize is presented in his memory. And this year it goes to Benjamin Rim for the senior individual exhibit, The Canadian Caper. Benjamin is a student at Staples High School, and his teacher is Drew Coyne. We're now going to jump back to the categories and go to performance. In second place for junior individual performance, The Prohibition Era in Connecticut by Joey Vasquez, a student at Coyltown Middle School in Westport. The teacher is Steve Cerny. And in first place, the project is Estelle Griswold, Debating the Past for the Future of Women's Healthcare Rights by Eleanor Farquhar, a student at Bristow Middle School in West Hartford, and the teacher is Melissa Tom. Moving on to senior individual performance, in third place, the student is Cecilia Zimbelman for the destruction of Indigenous cultures through Canadian residential schools. Cecilia is a student at Pine Point School in Mystic, and the teacher is Christopher Hurtgen. In second place, the project is Otto von Bismarck, Germany's Creator and Its Killer by Elizabeth Steves, a student at Trumbull High School. The teacher is Andrea Kemzar. And in first place, the student is Inya Raja for Public Diplomacy in the Debate Between Capitalism and Communism. Inya is a student at South Windsor High School, and the teacher is John Garish. Moving on to junior group performance. In third place, the project is The Genesis of Our National Bank, Debate, Diplomacy, and Direction by Kylie Purdue and Maya Costello. They're students at John F. Kennedy Middle School in Enfield, and their teacher is Brian Zawadniak. In second place is Debate and Diplomacy Through Dialogue, How a Cold War Spy Exchange Resulted in Success by Kalani Thiani and Sophia Marcus. Students at Mansfield Middle School, and their teacher is Jennifer McMunn. In first place, I believe this is their first entry to go to the national contest. The project is Thomas Jefferson, from an unheard Secretary of State to the president who won the first Barbary War, Changing the Role of Debate and Diplomacy in American Foreign Policy by Anam Khan, Zara Fatima Khan, and Zana Khalik. They're students at Medina Academy in Windsor, and their teacher is Salwa Collings. Moving on to senior group performance. In third place, the project is Breaking the Bank, Political Debate in the Bank War of 1832 by Sarah Levine, Julia Healy Pereira, and Lauren Levine. They're students at E.O. Smith High School in Mansfield, and their teacher is Jennifer McMunn. In second place, the project is the Congress for Cultural Freedom, the CIA's Cloak and Paintbrush Diplomacy by John Margoloni and Clarissa Halperin, and their students at Rockville High School, and the teachers are Regina Lee and Cynthia McMahon. And in first place, by Sophia Carrier and Kathia Diaz, the project is The Gold Standards Control Over the Working Class, William Jennings Bryan's Crusade to End Economic Disparity in America. They're students at Enfield High School with Brian Zawadniak. And now we come to our last category, websites. In junior individual website, in third place, the project is The World on Edge, the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962 by Joseph Velasco, a student at Scotts Ridge Middle School in Ridgefield. And the teachers are Thomas Broderick and Kira Kowalczak. Also from Scotts Ridge Middle School is The Most Hated Treaty in History by Sebastian Otomo in second place. And in first place, the project is The Hull Note, Failed Diplomacy or an Ultimatum in Disguise by Sia Reddy, a student at Talcott Mountain Academy. The teacher is Amanda Greco. In senior individual website, in third place, the student is Samantha Sheldon, From Dictatorship to Democracy, the Peaceful End of the Apartheid Era. Samantha's a student at Staples High School with Nellyanne Lynch. In second place, the project is Matthew Delman, For the Cuban Missile Crisis, How Debate and Diplomacy Saved the World. Matthew also is a student with Nellyanne Lynch at Staples High School. And in first place, the student is Lucia Wang, for Minamata's Fight for Justice, How Japan's Failed Debate and Response Sparked Local and Global Change. And the student attends Staples High School, and the teacher is Kelly Zendra. Moving on to junior group website. In third place, the project is Age-Old Debates, the First Continental Congress by Zia Cashman and Kalia Gia, students at Mansfield Middle School with Jennifer McMunn. In second place, from Bedford Middle School, the project is Surrender of the Japanese Empire by Alex Cahaly, Samson Vinner, and John Mello, and their students with Alexis Owing. In first place, Controversy Surrounding the Israel-Palestine Separation of 1947 by Maya Harpez-Levy and Reza Ashan, students at Worthington Hooker School, and their teacher is Kristen Ben. And now we get to the very, very last of our awards. For senior group website, in third place, the project is the U.S.-Soviet Cultural Agreement of 1958, Successes, Failures, and Consequences of Soviet and American Diplomacy by Elise Eisenberger, Jolie Geffen, and Tessa Castle. They're students at Staples High School, and their teacher is Drew Coyne. In second place, the project is Galileo, a Scientist Ahead of His Time by Anna Guret, Samantha Norton, Shayla Regan, and Anna Lundberg. They attend Ellington High School with Lynn Olette and William Pernetta. And in first place, also from Ellington High School, The students are Nadia Zaffanella and Natalie Marshall for their project, Jacqueline Cochran, the fight for women aviators in the military. While we've only announced a handful of names of all the students who participated in this year's Connecticut State Contest, I want to extend my congratulations to all of the students because the work you've done has made you a winner, whether or not you receive a medal or an award. I want to commend you for your perseverance in completing your project and making it to the state contest. You will be able to view your evaluation forms through the ZFAIRS registration system. And I would like to say to those folks whose names were called for first or second place for a category, we will be sending you information early next week about registering for the national contest. If we called your name at all, whether for first, second, third place, or for a special prize, after we finish the award ceremony, we're going to ask you to come forward and join us on the stage so we could get a big group picture. So please make sure to do that. If you have not already done so, especially teachers, please stop by the t-shirt table so that you can pick up your medals from the regional contest. Thank you to our special guests for joining us for today's program. And thank you again to our friends at Vernon Center Middle School for hosting us. I hope that this is our transition back to in-person contests next year. Congratulations to all of you and have a great evening and a safe drive home.